So an arithmetic series, it tells us the sum of the first 15 is 93.75. It tells us D, and it tells us T15 equals 11.5. And one of the things that we're going to be doing in a question like this one is you're going to look at your formula sheet. So off to the side, I'm going to write down all the formulas we've learned so far. We've learned this formula. That finds any term. We've learned two sum formulas. One that uses the last term, and one that uses D. And so what you can do with your formulas here is you sort of can go through what you have and what you would need to figure out and see if it's something, if there's a formula that can help you figure that out, okay? If I want to find the first three terms, okay, what would I need? I would need to find out what term 1 is. So let's see if there is a way that we can figure out what term 1 is given the information. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of these things and the formulas. So when I know that S15 is 93.75, that means I could plug in something for Sn, and I could plug in something for n because I'd be plugging in 15 for S15. So I can check mark those things off. What's the problem with this one? I still don't know T1 and D. Just using this piece of information, okay? So now I go to my second piece of information, and that tells me D. So I would know D, and I would know D in this equation, okay? And then it tells me term 15. So I would know term 15 and n for this formula, and I would know term 15 for that one. Can you see that in all three formulas, the only thing I don't know in the first formula would be T1. The only thing I don't know in the second formula is T1. The only thing I wouldn't know in the third formula is T1. It allows me to use any one of the three formulas to figure out what term 1 would be. And you could choose whichever one you want. Okay? In this unit, or in this section, I think they probably would like you to use the second one. The reason I think they want you to use the second one is because it uses all the information they gave us. Can you see that if you use the first one, you don't even need this? They gave us more information than they had to, which isn't bad. So I will try to make the textbook happy and use the second one. But we could have used the first one and not even had to use the 93.75. But this is the process that you would have to do. Sometimes only one of the formulas will actually work. So you would have to decide, what information do I know? Is there a formula where there's only one thing I don't know? And if there's only one thing you don't know, then you can solve for it. So we'll use the formula that so if this is our formula, that would mean that S15 would have to equal 15 term 1 plus term 15. And this would be a step that some of you would skip. I don't mind if you skip it. But the reason some of you might skip this is because you would right away put in, well, sum of the first 15 is 93.75. 15, term 1, plus term 15 is 11.5 divided by 2. And now we're going to have to use our algebra to get term 1 by itself. First thing I would do algebraically here is I'd multiply both sides by 2, because that will get rid of our fraction, and I will get 187.5 equals 15, term 1 plus 11.5. We have some options here. Some people would like to divide both sides by 15. Some people would like to distribute first. Either would be fine. So if I distribute first, I get 15 term 1s plus 15 times 11.5. I'm going to go to my calculator for that one. 172.5. Subtract 172.5. And we get that term 1 is 1. Term 2 then would be 1.75 because they already told us that D was 0.75. And term 3 would be 2.5 because we knew that D was 0.75. Okay. We would have got T1 is equal to 1 had we used the first formula or the third formula as well. So it does not matter in this case which formula we use, but off to the side there, I wanted to show you that when you go through the process of saying, in order to solve for something, I need to know everything but what I want to solve for. So the last formula, I want to solve for term 1. Do I know the rest of the things? Yes, I could use that formula. The second one is the one we used. We knew everything except for what we wanted to find. Perfect. And same thing with the first formula. Circle questions 7, 10, and 15, and I put an asterisk on 16 because it is a bit of a challenge. So if you like questions that challenge you, make sure that you try 16.